It's day 20 of the month of October in the year 2025. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning News. This, of course, is the first bulletin of the day on TV3, and it's coming to you live from the news hub here at Adisawe Kanda. We're live on Facebook. It's TV3 Ghana, and on DSTV it's channel 279. My name is George Quinn. Top of the stories is that Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson directs security personnel at the Elubu border to intensify vigilance as over 1,500 Ivorians seek refuge in Ghana ahead of Côte d'Ivoire's October 25 elections. Former Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs Minister Dr. Henry Seydou Dana says he will support any class action against state agencies over their failure to ensure accessibility for persons with disabilities in public buildings. And also coming up this morning, farmers call on government to ensure ready and timely access to farm inputs and implements under Feed Ghana program, FGP. Well, we have details of these stories and many more coming up in the next 20 minutes if you spend your time with me. Remember, you can get interactive with us. We're live on Facebook. It's TV3 Ghana. Let's begin from the Western region. As the regional minister, Joseph Nelson, has urged security forces at the Elubu border to remain vigilant ahead of Côte d'Ivoire's October 25 presidential elections. The call comes after reports that about 1,500 Ivorians have entered Ghana in the last 3 months seeking safety. Rama Smith has more.
Ivory Coast is scheduled for its presidential elections on October 25, and already isolated cases of disturbances are being reported. Also being reported are some Ivorian nationals moving into Ghana through the Elubu border and other unapproved routes. It is on this premise that the Western Regional Minister on a visit to the border cautioned the border security to remain vigilant.
The situation is still very fluid, and so let's keep our eyes on, the inflow so that we're able to check the security side of things, so we don't have any surprises. With your eyes wide open, so we don't get any criminals slipping through, the system to pose a challenge to us as far as our security is concerned.
Deputy Commissioner of Immigration Joshua Kreku of the Elubu Command disclosed that these persons do not usually declare themselves as asylum seekers upon entry, but often later appear in refugee camps.
Rationally, people are taking precautions by leaving the country to find safe havens, and then maybe after the elections, if everything is fine, they go back. So we have also noticed that the numbers are going up maybe, but there isn't a situation where people are carrying their bags to cross the border to go there.
Fearing a resurgence of election violence, some Ivorians are reportedly seeking asylum in neighboring countries ahead of their presidential elections. This mirrors a pattern from over a decade ago when post-election turmoil forced many to flee, with a significant number finding refuge in Ghana's Nzima enclave. Information being picked by TV3 News indicates approximately 1,548 Ivorians have entered Ghana within the last 3 months, though their precise locations remain unknown. At the Ampain refugee camp in the Elembele district, we learned there are almost 400 Ivorian refugees here. Didier Denyan is an Ivorian refugee.
Vous savez, dans un pays, quand on respecte la constitution, la démocratie, il n'y a pas de problème. Mais quand la constitution est foulée du pied, ça crée le désordre.
In a country, when the constitution and the democracy is in respect, there's not issue. But when they want to go over it, this is how civilian war comes to the country.
Ils ont éliminé les candidats potentiels à l'élection présidentielle.
Yeah, they just eliminated some of the potential candidates.
Il faut lui dire que quand la CPI a blanchi Laurent Gbagbo, en principe, on doit le rétablir au pouvoir.
He said when the former president came back of jail, they set him free for every charges. So normally, according to the rules and regulation, he was supposed to be put on the list, on the election list, but the government in charge refused.
C'est ce qui va que le désordre. Donc, C'est cette peur-là qui fait que les Ivoiriens fuient plus viennent ici.
This is the reason why most of Ivorians are running to come to Ghana, because they already experienced some past problems.
Irama Smith, TV3 News. I'm paying.
Well, we'll follow up on the outcome of this very development and also the elections in Ivory Coast from October 25. So keep watching TV3 in that regard. And our former Minister of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Dr. Henry Seydou Dana, has backed calls for a class action against state institutions that have refused to make their premises and buildings accessible to persons with disabilities. Speaking on the sidelines of a disability lecture organized by the University of Professional Studies, UPSA, in honor of former President John Ejiokum, the former minister urged the implementation of inclusive policies that offer equal opportunities to persons with disabilities.
Living with disabilities, PWDs in Ghana continue to face enormous challenges, from social exclusion to limited access to employment and public facilities, despite laws that guarantee their rights. A recent public lecture at the University of Professional Studies, Accra, organized in honor of former President John Ejiokum, reignited conversations about disability inclusion and the urgent need for action. Speaking on the sidelines of the event, former Minister of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Dr. Henry Seydou Dana, backed calls for a class action against state institutions that have failed to make their premises accessible to persons with disabilities.
It's high time, probably some of these cases have to go to the courts. I think so, because there's Act 715 was passed in 2006. How many years today? And so if this is our own, I think we should go to court and probably raise it internationally. I think enough is enough.
He stressed that such deliberate neglect violates the Persons with Disability Act 2006, Act 715, which mandates all public buildings to be disability friendly. Ghana has also ratified the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Dr. Dana himself, visually impaired, lamented the slow pace of implementation of inclusive policies and urged policymakers to walk the talk. Despite several interventions, many persons with disabilities say they continue to face stigma and stereotype.
In 1997, I was called to the bar as the first blind man in the history of Ghana to become a lawyer. And it's 30 years today. And if this year, about 4 persons with disabilities didn't come to Ghana bar, it has shown that my suffering, my pain, my risks have not been in vain. It was a battle that we have won. And let us not take it that the battles are end. There are some still who they think that once you appear to be, you should be kept underdog. You should be kept down. You should not be allowed to rise. But we'll see the very end.
Some employers still view disability as incapacity, denying qualified individuals job opportunities. In education, infrastructure and learning materials often fail to cater for their needs, further widening inequality. The Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations notes that accessibility remains a major obstacle to participation in public life. Many public offices, schools, and even hospitals remain physically inaccessible, forcing persons with disability to rely on others for basic services. Experts say this exclusion stems from entrenched societal attitudes and a lack of political will to enforce existing laws. They argue that Ghana must transition from sympathy-based interventions to empowerment-driven policies that recognize disability as a development and a human rights issue. The call for class action, according to a senior lecturer at the University of Professional Studies, Accra, Dr. Joseph Kabila, could be a turning point.
The Ghana Police Service, the Judicial Service, DVLA and other services must all incorporate the relevant acts, provisions, and sections of Act 715 into their training manuals. So that a DVLA official will not look at somebody who has driven for more than 15 years because of her appearance, who was coming to renew her license to suggest that she could not drive.
Ensuring accessibility is not an act of charity, but a constitutional obligation and a test of Ghana's commitment to inclusive development. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Accra.
And now for many farmers in Ghana, government programs and policies such as the Feed Ghana program, FGP, will ensure agricultural transformation, boost domestic production, improve food security, and reduce import dependency, with climate change as a key limiting factor in achieving sustainable agriculture, especially in the northern part of the country. Farmers want government to ensure timely access to farm inputs and implement.
The Feed Ghana program was officially launched by President Mahama in April 2025 in Techiman. The goal of the program is to address challenges like low productivity and high food import costs, thus ensuring food security and propelling economic transformation through agriculture. Key components include support for various crop and livestock development, establishing farmer service centers, enhancing value chains, and promoting agribusiness for youth. Alhaji Isaaku Mahama is a commercial farmer in the Karaga district. He's been into commercial farming since 1997 after he exited parliament as the first member of parliament for the then Gushegu Karaga constituency. For him, the Feed Ghana program, if carefully implemented, will be a game changer in the agriculture sector.
As a farmer, I would like government to be more proactive, to introduce every crop desk officer so that government can take stock data on crop by crop so that sustainability and efficiency of production will be adhered to, and then the program thereby succeed.
Like Alhaji Isaaku, many farmers have lauded the flagship Feed Ghana program. They, however, want government to ensure that farm inputs are made available at the right time.
Government should try to help us with support, maybe soft loans that can cushion us to do our farming. All the inputs that we use in the farming season is not an easy task because it's too costly. Things are costly. Buying fertilizer, chemicals, and other things are not easy. Look at how the farm is very neat because we keep on applying those chemicals and fertilizers to it so that we can get a good yield.
On institutional farming under the program, the Central Gonja District Assembly has cultivated over 30 acres of maize, which is due for harvesting.
The need to go beyond training, sensitization, and possibly facilitating farmers to benefit and implement these policies. But rather, the institution as an assembly should be model institutions, implement the programs for other institutions and farmers to witness. And that is how come this farm was established.
With recent reports of farmers experiencing glut due to unavailability of buyers, government must ensure there is ready market accessibility for farmers. This will ensure that more people venture into agriculture, creating jobs and reducing Ghana's dependence on high food imports. A reduction in import costs will in turn help strengthen the Ghana cedi and improve the purchasing power of Ghanaians by lowering food costs. Christopher Mwako, TV3 News, Karaga.
Well, if you just tuned in, you're watching the morning news, the first bulletin of the day on TV3. In more news this morning, the Ghana Standards Authority says one of its core challenges in the execution of its mandate is maintaining standards in the informal sector, although efforts are underway in addressing that very concern. Consumers mostly complain of being shortchanged through traders' own measurements of foodstuff. In the following report, I assess the viability of a possible standardized measuring system to be introduced at the markets. Adjoa Suhum has been selling plantain for more than 35 years. She goes by the name Adjoa Suhum because she sources her produce from Suhum in the eastern region. With more than 3 decades in the business, she tells me she can identify the weight of the commodity just by lifting it. But are consumers getting value for money?
Kasi ya skill ba na ya de ninyina ya I think say me no de
the scale will not favor me if it applies to all commodities at the market.
Alima is aware she has been shortchanged multiple times at the markets. The weight of a wache stew has never been consistent over time.
Because rice now
If only it will help. Why not? Because even in La Côte d'Ivoire, rice is weighed.
There's inconsistent and often inaccurate nature of measurements when it comes to the market. The size of an alonka, for instance, is not standardized, varying from one market to the other, often leading to consumers being shortchanged. In the sale of onions, there's a popular practice known as chocking. Sellers support the commodity with each other, creating more vacuum and space in the container. Chocking is mostly done to shortchange customers who are bent on beating down the prices. Asante explains.
Some customers don't pay what is due, that is why we chalk the onions. If I can get value for money, then I am all for the scale.
In the tomato business, traders create holes in the container whilst arranging the commodity for sale.
It is the actions of the customers that make us do this. Sometimes their prices are not good.
Some civil servants share their experiences, demanding an immediate solution.
Especially buying gari, tomatoes. You see, when the measurement, the cans they use is so bad. Some are very small, but they will load it before they put the stuff in. So you get home, then you realize what you bought is very little. So you don't get the value you wanted.
For the sake of the market women, let me express myself in Chi. You see, almost the pear, the seed in the pear. Sometimes they put it in the can they use, they put it inside and they put the food stuff in it. So you will not see, you the buyer, you will not see what the can entails. They do certain things to it that you get home and you realize you don't have value for what you bought.
It's a good idea, it will help, but talking about our country, Ghana today, they'll find a way here and there to adjust their skills.
For butchers who welcome the intentions of the Ghana Standards Authority, the space requires sophisticated measuring skills which cannot easily be tampered with and also affordable for all.
Imagine somebody coming to buy in the market and then the scale has been adjusted. You know, you will not get a value for money.
These complaints and many more have been emanating for a long time now. And is this practice happening at the blind side of the Ghana Standards Authority, or are they aware of this? If yes, what is the authority doing to regulate that very space? Well, let's engage the Deputy Director General of the authority, Clifford Frimpong.
You are buying even yam, they put it in their hand to just listen and tell you the price instead of putting it on a scale. If something is working, that is when you don't need to change. But it is not working. You and I know that the Olonka, there are a lot of tricks being played. They can, sometimes you pour whatever is in it and you see it is packed with either paper, sack, dresses, whatever. So instead of the food, it is being maybe 3/4 or half. If right now it is weighing scales they cannot buy, can we get something that will make sure that things are even on the field?
Experts have suggested it will require some concerted effort to ensure standardization is practiced across trading centers.
The consumer is there to check us, to make sure that we do the work. It's a mandate with 3 of them. 1, promote industrial growth. 2, facilitate trade. And the 3rd one, and the most important, protect consumer. So if your trade is growing, but the consumer is being cheated, my mandate is not fulfilled. So I have to make sure that I certify all the 3.
The Ghana Standards Authority Act 2022 Act 1078 gives the GSA legal authority to inspect premises, seize inaccurate devices, and prohibit the use of non-compliant equipment. The Act empowers inspectors to seize the weight, measure an instrument for the purpose of comparing the seized weight, measure an instrument with a working standard. It is an offense to obstruct an inspector in his line of duty. The GSA will have to intensify its enforcement to ensure consumers are not shortchanged while purchasing goods on the market. George Queenan, TV3 News, Accra. Well, if you missed the grand finale of Ghana's Most Beautiful last night, just so you know, the rep from the Volta region, Etodam, was emerged as the winner. Better luck next time to the other regions. And I'm told she'll be on the morning show this very morning. So stay with us for up-close interactions with the Queen. My name is George Queen. For more news updates, just log on to our website, s3news.com. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Good morning.
Love the Premier League? Your DSTV premium subscription could get you there in real life time. Stay connected for your chance to watch Premier League live. Man U versus Man City at Old Trafford, or Arsenal versus Man
I had Asakia, I had Etonam, I had Sika, then I had the Ghana. That would be now Joko, right?
I think we had the same list actually. Myself.
Yeah.
And after watching both ladies perform, I was like, wow, that's really amazing.
I think there's something that Etonam did right. You know, when the question was asked and she answered and decided also to do the translation into their language and all that. But I thought all of them performed well for the day as well.
Yeah.
But just unfortunate that those who did not get the first position had to place the runner-ups subsequently and then also the last. But
I think it was something that the ladies were prepared for, that at the end of the day you're 5, but it is going to be just one person who will have the crown. So all of them were prepared for that, but I loved the stunning performances last night. Really
very
beautiful ones.
And again, when it comes to the moderation as well, I have to say that
Cookie
T as well as Anita, they always do justice. You know, experience is always everything. And they've gone through this down the mill and trying to make sure that they get the best of it.
They say journalism is like wine, the older the better.
You see, well, as it is, please, we're back for another week. Wherever you find yourself, please, we say that welcome to the show as well. And let's say good morning to all of you. Chairman Godwin Tamaklo, as well as Chairman Prosper of Smart Shipping Company Limited. And then Richard Kukuti, all those who tend to watch us as well. Yesterday I had some great messages from a friend of mine who celebrated the birthday yesterday, Stephen Jack. Happy birthday. Good morning to you. You celebrated your birthday. I wasn't able to be there, but don't worry. My soul was there, so to speak. But you're looking beautiful. You're looking like the Queen.
Thank you very much, Roland.
Queen Elizabeth or Queen Beatrice.
Oh, okay. Yes, Queen Beatrice.
Is it from Eddie Joy again?
Yes, it's from Eddie Joy.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Eddie Joy.
Great. And they always give you very English styled as well as corporate look.
Lovely clothes in all the shops. Jasuman, Ace Legon, and on the La Road as well. Eddie Joy _ Closet. You can always find them there on Instagram and other social media platforms. Yes.
Well, and straight away we have to ask you the question: what do you make of the finals of Ghana's Most Beautiful? Ultimately, Etonam of the Volta region won. Well, but we have in that order, just to give you up to speed with what the order was. Etonam placing first, and so winning the crown. Asakia. Sika, who had, so my top 3, all of them, and then Ajoko as well was also in the mix, and Ajoko of Greater Accra, and then we had Nana as well. It was quite a beautiful night. What do you make of the finale, so to speak? And we know that this happened, but before this, there was the Shatawale concert as well. It was also, you watch the videos of Shatawale?
Just snippets.
SM for Life as well.
Snippets.
I know Stoneboy is going to be under extreme pressure as well because of this. But it was
two
free
of them,
gates.
I mean,
that's the counter argument for. I love both of them. So Stoneboy or Shatawale. I'm an SM fan. So and then I love Stoneboy as well. So we'll see
I think both of them have their own unique styles, and so it's just funny when you hear supporters of both. Or fans, that's how it is. Shatawale is the biggest. It's just.
Well, the counter argument that was free gate.
Yeah.
Free gates, nobody they pay, so.
Yeah.
You know, and so what do you make of the finale of Ghana's Most Beautiful? And do you think you could have gone the way of your candidate or your preferred beauty queen as well? And for big issues, we'll be discussing some critical subject matters. You would know that the governor of the Bank of Ghana has announced that we could exit the IMF program by next year.
Yes.
So the question is, are we ready?
Are we ready?
So far, looking at what we've done with the economy. You know, we've been out before, then we go back. 2020, we did that. We by 2019, we're out. 2020, then.
And I really hope that we have a solid plan if indeed we are exiting next year, because a lot of the time the challenge is the moment we exit, then we begin to see the cracks again. So hopefully this time around, we've been able to fix the cracks, and gradually we'll be moving towards a no IMF program in the future, and the foundation and all of that.
I want us to remain with the IMF. It puts our political leaders in check, really. To rationalize expenditure and then also not overspend. And Because if you take a look at the Auditor General's report, we tend to lose a lot.
Oh, as for that, I don't even want to go there. I mean, every year, it's as if we are just waiting to tell us how much we wasted.
I mean, it's unfortunate I'm saying this, but I'm only being realistic.
Yeah, but I think we can work our way out. I just pray we are able to. I know you're being realistic, but again, the conditions that come with IMF, you know, programs do not necessarily also favor everybody. So
no, they do not at all.
Yes, so we should be able to find our way around it. Yes.
Well, so for this morning segment, we're asking you, what do you make of Ghana's Most Beautiful final that took place at the National Theatre and well patronized as well? I had a lot of people calling me for tickets, etc. But the supporters also had lots of supporters as well. So please, we have cash out. It goes with short code *439#. And all you need to do is to choose option 2, increase the number of tickets you have.
How many times?
40 plus. But in the meantime, this morning's segment is on the question, what do you make of the finale, Ghana's Most Beautiful, and ultimately the winner and the runner-ups as we find them.
Educational infrastructures, but moving to the city, I have been able to break barriers, push through, went to junior high, senior high, tertiary, and today I'm on the biggest platform in Ghana. I believe that is why I deserve to win, because my story will impact people and help me achieve my dream. Thank you.
All right, Etonam. Now to your main question for tonight. As a proud representative of the Volta region, if given the opportunity to champion women's empowerment in your region, what 4 key interventions would you introduce to inspire progress and transform lives among women?
Thank you so much. First of all, women empowerment, I believe, is the act of giving women the agency, resources, and confidence to make their own life choices and to fully participate in social, economic, and political issues without fear, violence, or discrimination. Anita, many years back, if you had asked me this question, I wouldn't have been able to answer because I was an illiterate. And so education is the reason I am here today. I will impact or empower women through education by encouraging young girls to stay in school and boost their self-confidence, because education will help them gain better opportunities and earn higher salaries. Again, imagine that we organize a mentorship program and we have dignitaries like Auntie Linda, Auntie Jane, Nana Windo, Honorable Jifa Gomashi, and even our Vice President, Professor Jane Nana Opokwajima.
Lovely response coming from Etonam and eventually getting the crown. Let's go to our first caller. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay, my name is Sani from Waliwali.
Yes, sir. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. What's on your mind?
Okay, I just want to congratulate the winner, Etonam. Even though I was supporting Asakia, I voted for her. So right from day one, her performance has been excellent, okay, and then consistent. So I was supporting her, I was voting for her, and I was hoping that she crowns the title. But yesterday, upon looking at the votes that she garnered, and then you compare to that of Etonam before the final, I saw that she was trailing almost half of that of the winner. So I was not happy about that. But when you look at her performance, it was very marvelous, especially yesterday. In fact, she tried to expose, the kind of moral decadence that we have in our society. Okay, how chiefs are corrupt, and even the politicians, chiefs are giving their lands to selling lands. In fact, they're not supposed to do that. So because of that, we are being afflicted with, all kind of problems and all. So she tried to expose all that. But like I said, unfortunately, she lost out. But I want to appeal to TV3 that you try, especially those who try to become runner-up. You let them have automatic qualification for the next program, next year, so that they can come back and then continue where they left. But when you just leave them to go like that, I don't think is the best at all. But I am very happy that she tried to expose the culture of the whole northern region. And I have problem with the northern region. In fact, she was left. She was the only person left. And we were supposed to support her, the whole 5 northern regions. We were supposed to vote for her. But I don't know, or because she also didn't market herself very well across the northern region, because she was representing the northern bloc, not only Upper East. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. So that is my worry. But I want to congratulate the winner. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling us from Wali Wali. You can hear the passion in his voice.
Yes.
Telling us who he thought could win. But yesterday, yes, social media was buzzing with both Etonam and Asakia. So, yeah. Both ladies extremely well. Thank you so much for sharing those views with us. Yes, so the numbers are displayed on your screen. Call us and let us know what you're thinking this morning. Well, and I believe by now you've received some messages as well. Okay, let's go to Idris, who joins us live as well. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on this morning segment on New Day. Tell us where you're calling us from.
Good morning, I'm calling you from Upper West Region.
Yes, sir. Wow. How is Wa this morning?
Oh, by the grace of Allah, is very good, very, very good.
Tell us what you think.
Yes, let me say good morning to the Upper West, Chairman Abdulaziz wife, and also good morning to the local people in Wala, Ansuma, Yedinji 24 Lana. And actually, when the Game was Beautiful started, I took my time to go through it up to the final, because I don't want anybody to explain anything to me. Actually, yesterday, the final, I was in support with Pika, because as a man, you need money, and Pika is much money. If you ask my brother, Roland, he told you that, unfortunately, the woman that would take the gun was beautiful. He deserves it. He deserves to become the first. If you look at how he even answered the question, the judge didn't land that, but he took the question and started answering to her. Only that one shows that he deserves what he's supposed to get as the first. But I would say, every contestant, there's a chance for you again to come. We shouldn't take it at tribalism, or we shouldn't take it at this and this and this. No. He deserves to win that thing, he's half winning. But what I would say is that he said something that which is very important. Example, the women doesn't like to support their self-women in any contest, in anything. And which is very bad. You understand? So what I want to say is that women should encourage youth women, that they also have time to do everything that they can do. That will bless TV3 and give them the more to continue bringing us program that is vibrant even more than Ghana was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Idris, for calling us from Wa in the Upper West region. Yes, Roland, what have you got?
Well, we have a couple more messages. This one is coming from Prince Nania York and says, good morning to myself and you, Beatrice. And, okay, watching you live. Okay, so I have Randa. Randa Shah, good morning to you. Randa Shah says that for all the things that have to be done, her choices were in the order that they came. And so said that my top 3 was Etonam, Asakia, and Ajoko. All right. I think Ajoko was 4th, rather. Okay.
Yeah.
And as for Shatawale, there's no size. Even if we are to pay, we'll see this crowd. Yeah? And Randa Shah. Anyway,
Let's go to Emmanuel. Yes, Emmanuel joins us live now. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us where you're calling us from and what you think about what we are talking about this morning.
Yeah, good morning to you all over there and to all of you. TV3 are doing well, and I might say keep it up. But yesterday, in fact, I have to take my time because I wanted my woman to come with the crown. That's Sakia. But unfortunately, we couldn't get it. But I know next time, by God grace, will also come through. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for calling us. Yes, a number of people expressing their views about Asakia. Roland.
Yeah. And so this one is coming from MK Erickson, who says that the current leadership isn't only ready. Okay, you're talking about the IMF, so we'll read that subject matter or the comment related to that when it comes to the big issues. And Sherry Giovanni says, this year's Ghana's Most Beautiful was highly contested and all the ladies put up their best. The Etonam proved yesterday why she deserved the crown, and it truly came to her. Congratulations and good morning to Miss Mariam Oga of the University of Education, Winneba.
Yes, let's go to Peter T. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you once again for joining us. Tell us what's on your mind today.
Oh, my sister, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you too?
Roland, I love your outfit this morning.
Hey, Peter T.
Yeah.
Peter T. Channel.
Anyway, Roland, as usual, let me see. I use the opportunity on your platform to say good morning to Alaji Yaya Kondo. Honorable Mahdi, he's the NDC director for election. And I also have Sariki and Mr. K of Wawa Road at Newtown, and the Honorable Noga, NDC Greater Accra Regional Treasurer. In fact, Roland, I really sacrificed my night yesterday. One, Kukiti has been on this program, a very good, host of the program. And I needed to spend always the sacrificial of my night with Kukiti because of this program. And then also let me use the opportunity also to congratulate the winner and then the first runner, that is Satya and Etonam. In fact, it was a marvelous show yesterday. I could not sleep until this 1 o'clock that I was able to sleep. But you see, there's one thing that I realized in this pageant, beauty pageant. It seems that we have a lot that the ladies had a lot that they had to offer if they were given more chance to express themselves. Because some of them, you could realize that I think it was Ajoko who was the first, appeared person on the program yesterday. And when he finished, there was a remark that was made by one of the panels that her show was too long, and they needed the air to be, that could not. You could see that it's really, played down the spirit of Ajoko yesterday. When all these things, I think sometimes we needed to also make some remarks that will satisfy the conduct of their show, so that can also encourage them to do much better.
Right.
But in fact, TV3, you are making Ghana to be entertained and very well entertained. And we needed this for long ago. Kudos to Roland and Kukiti and all of you, the guys at the studio. We say that let this continue so that at least our problems of making means and whatever it is will be solved by TV3. Thank you very much.
Peter T, a.k.a. Alaji Yakondo. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much.
That was a very long one.
Yes.
He ended up also being very long on his comments as well.
Yeah,
so this one is coming from Master Planner Jr., who says that congratulations to Etonam. They all did a marvelous job. As for Shatawale, he's the African dancehall king. No one comes closer. Master Planner Junior Policy Analyst Kintampo. Good morning to you, Zach. Wishing you all the best for the day. And this one is coming from Moses. Moses says that, Moses Aklobot says, congratulations to Etonam. Again, I say the loyalty of the people of the Volta region is not limited to politics. It's also reflected in the strong sense of community and cultural identity that exists among its people. Understanding and appreciating their loyalty, etc. Eto has beautiful dreams she wants to actually build. Let us all support it. And then he said, congratulations once again, Jolama. All right. Fire day inside.
Let's speak to Abdul from Ahafu region. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us what's on your mind today. I hope you're well, first of all.
Yes. In fact, I want to say a very big thank you to TV3 for bringing such a wonderful program. In fact, yesterday's program was splendid. Among all the programs that we had, yesterday's one was very, very educative, very talented, and very, very enjoyable. You know, Asakia and that of Etonam, it was highly competitive.
Yeah.
However, once Etonam was able to show up her level of resilience, her knowledge, her talent, in fact, she deserves the crown. Although Asakia was somebody that we were all anticipating for her to have taken the crown home, yet Etonam has shown her level. So I want to thank you so much for hosting such a program. In fact, the whole season was highly educative, especially that of the women empowerment and that of the children and the vulnerable that Etonam has brought on board. So it is so wonderful. We thank you so much. We are expecting you to improve the next one come 2026.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's go to 3FM and 92.7, where Johnny Hughes is ready with Johnny's Bite.
Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you art with me. The rod and the staff, they comfort me. That prepares the table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runneth over, and surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Assalamu alaikum. It's the 20th day of October in 2025. It's a Monday. Welcome to Johnny's Bite. Let's give thanks to all our trotro drivers, our taxi drivers, our engineers, our lawyers, our judges, and our magistrates, and all the people who watch us. We are grateful that you join us every now and then, and to spread the word. Let me say thank you also to Sonar Fashions in Tamale for my outfit this morning, and to Mr. Bawini for my outfit as well. He bought me a very beautiful smock. That's my scorecard. Let me say thank you to him. Let's begin by celebrating our Ghana's most beautiful queen for the year 2025. And I know how Auntie B, my group CEO, is passionate about Ghana's most beautiful. She's passionate about women empowerment, and if you come to Media Journal, you meet a lot of women at the helm of affairs. My very own boss, Lois Kisiedu, my very own boss, Akofa Banson, my very own boss, Auntie B, my very own boss, Auntie, we call her Auntie Ama, but she's Ama Lawson. We have a lot of them. The helm of affairs. Kuzo, put the picture up. Let's engage with the Ghana's most beautiful, the lady who got the vehicle, the lady who got all the flowers flying in a way. Let's get it up there. Let's celebrate it. Etonam of Ghana fame. And it is a birthday. It is a enjoyment day today. Kunzo will find a photo today. But quickly, let me tell you about Rosebank International University College. It's an adult Montessori that I so much cherish, and I'll talk to you about it. It's at the Opebia end. You need to drive and go through there because they have their admission coming up for January 2026. You need to go there and feel it. It's not a regular university that we entertained and enjoyed and endured, where everything is clustered and everything is encumbered and we are going through. No. This is a very, very good university, approved from different levels, different international countries, and different, making you to thrive globally, community-based. Admissions are open. Go to school, go and learn in a very good university, get universal education, global ready programs, inspire excellence in you. Where do you want to take your child to? Or where do you yourself, Doctor of Business Administration, DBA, where do you want to go and educate yourself? This is what I'm talking about. Global, international, quintessential. That's what I'm talking about. You study in Accra, you could get external conversations in the South Africa of Africa, and you could be happy about it. This is the Rosebank International University College. Konzo, let's move on. Find me the photo, please. I want the GMB photo. I want to celebrate Etonam. That's Etonam. Asakia, first runner-up. Asakia, Upper East Region. She got the first runner-up. Second runner-up is Sika from the Asante region. And then we also have that's Sika from the Asante region. And then we also have Etonam. That's our queen for 2025 from the Volta region. Etonam. Congratulations to her. I spoke with them last Friday. We had a very good conversation. I didn't know she was going to win, but she won. I'm sure she's Auntie B's favorite person at this point. Yeah. Congratulations to Etonam. Ododio! I can hear you say, ho, where you are. Happy winning to you, Etonam. We appreciate you and we go with you. Today's Asakia's birthday. Asakia, happy birthday to you. Oh, happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday. Jonathan Syme, please do. She's a customer of your bank. Even though your bank and my bank gave money to National Service Authority, money that we didn't approve, and you gave them loan or whatever it is, but it is her birthday. It's a bank. Happy birthday to her. Let's read the letters, please. My friends at GTTC or GTTI, in between Metro Mass and the municipal, you decided to write to your boss and say that whatever we said there is wrong. Oh, but today you are resuming school. I wanted to wait for you to resume your school, Mr. Tete. I wanted to wait for you to resume your school. Then I will show you the documents. Miokabata, Ole, Ebenezer Edu, telling Miokabata, Ole. You don't know. I said, I gave you the Kolebu example when I made 30 people go through fake whatever it is. 30 people, I made them go through. There's another gentleman at the Ministry of Education. You have gone to do fake affidavit on your birth certificate. You wear suit and tie, you go to work. Somebody called you from the Financial Intelligence Bureau and you told the person that it's complicated. This morning, if you are listening to me, don't dress up and go to work. Because if you go to work today, tomorrow, I'll show you a picture. I will put you out there. The world will know who you are. That you reduce your age and you have attended to official duty without authorization. Oh, I will put it up there. We have your date of birth from 19 Godohoho to when you changed it. So don't go. Don't attempt to go. If you try, you'll be in trouble. Let's read the letter together. Iyoko rescues QNet victims. On Friday, October 17, 2025, about 10:30 hours, the Anti-Human Trafficking Unit of the Economic and Organized Crime Office carried out a joint operation with QNet that led to the arrest of 9 suspects and rescue of 26 victims. The operation, codenamed Operation Quest, followed intelligence that some foreigners and Ghanaians had been trafficked under the guise of providing employment with the QNet company, a reputable company with trades in wellness and lifestyle products. As the suspects include 2 Ivorians and 7 Ghanaians, while the victims were made up of 10 Ivorians and 16 Ghanaians. All 9 suspects are currently in custody of Iyoko to assist in investigations. Iyoko wishes to advise the general public to report all cases of individuals and groups who claim to be agents of QNet who provide job opportunities at the company either in Ghana or abroad. In July this year, Iyoko and QNet signed a joint MOU to clamp down on criminal actors using the QNet to traffic persons, signed by Faustina Latte, his head of public affairs, for executive director. That's Mr. Former Enquirer newspaper. Find me the other letter, Kunzo. It's the Ghana Health Service, and I need to reiterate this because I've seen that is going on and people actually don't give a damn about it. So please pay attention to this one. This is for immediate release from the Ghana Health Service, increasing seasonal influenza cases in Ghana. The Ministry of Health, through the Ghana Health Service, that's the GHS, wishes to inform the public that Ghana is currently experiencing an increasing case of seasonal influenza in certain parts of the country. The cases have been confirmed as influenza A strains H3N2 and H1N1, which are part of the seasonal flu viruses. The high cases have been reported in the Greater Accra region, Central region, Bono region, Eastern region. It must be noted that these high reported cases coincide with Ghana's annual flu season, which peaks during the cooler months. The symptoms of seasonal flu include sudden onset of fever, cough, sore throat, runny nose, body aches, headaches, fatigue. The spread is mainly through respiratory droplets from an affected person coughing, sneezing, or talking, and touching contaminated surfaces. High-risk settings are crowded environments such as schools, dormitories, transport hubs, and markets for rapid spread. Who is at risk? Children and adolescents, the children you are taking to school this morning, they are at high risk, especially with school in session. The elderly, pregnant women, people with chronic illnesses, you have asthma, you have diabetes, you have heart disease, you are prone. What should we do? Seek medical care early. If you develop flu-like symptoms, stay home if you're unwell to avoid spreading the infection. Practice good health and hygiene. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water. Cover sneezes and coughs, and also disinfect frequently and treat surfaces immediately. Also, avoid crowded spaces and close contact with sick individuals. Use a face mask when in crowded places. Health systems and the response thereof. Enhance surveillance and rapid diagnosis testing at health facilities. Update case management protocols for clinicians, and also public education campaigns through media and community channels. Coordination with regional health and directorate to ensure timely response. As schools reopen, and some of them came home Friday, but as schools reopen across the country, the service urges all the school authorities, parents, students to strictly observe the prevention methods and measures as prescribed above. The service is working with the Ghana Education Service to safeguard the health and students of the staff during the period. The Ministry of Health, through the Ghana Health Service, assures the public that all necessary measures are being taken to contain these flu cases, and the cooperation of stakeholders are vital in providing yourself and your family and your community, protecting you as well. Dr. Samuel Kaba Korea is the boss of the Ghana Health Service. There's something on my heart I want to talk about. We live in a country where people assume that they are entitled to certain positions. I've not mentioned anybody's name. But we live in a country where people assume that we are entitled to a certain position. So even if the authorities and the law and functions of the Constitution decide that we will be taking off, we feel so entitled about it. And they get some ill-mannered people to be assuming and advising them. I repeat, we live in a country where people feel entitled to a certain position, so that they will be advised by any other person who thinks that they are well positioned to advise them to fight the system. You cannot fight the system and win. No. The law remains the law. The law remains the law. Not so long ago, I told you about somebody who was on social media bragging and saying that if you care to know, I've not stolen anything. Now, the people are before court. And we are watching the Attorney General closely. The office of the special prosecutor, we're watching them closely. Samida, good morning to you. Kesi Jabi, good morning to you. We're watching them closely. The people voted for a reset. The reset has to be done properly and properly so. No. You cannot do it the way you want to do it. No. The people want a certain reset, and the reset is somebody has stolen money, somebody has chopped money, somebody has done illegal activity. The reset must deal with the person. No. You cannot be dealing with the issues the way you want. No. You are my good friends. I love you. I respect you. But I'm saying that the reset must be done the way the streets want it, according to the law. according to the law. If the law doesn't support it, don't do it. But if the law supports it, do it with all your might and strength. Yesterday when I went to church, some 2 children came to me and said, but you said we should be speaking about our own issues. I said, yes, speak about your own issues. What do you do with your Snapchat account, your TikTok account?
Well, again, we have to say that we hope that you enjoy that edition of Johnny's Buy from the studios of 3FM. And as it is, DSL is one of the product outcomes of having good programming right here at Media General or TV3, and so it comes from the reality show Mentor. And just yesterday, we had the finale for Ghana's Most Beautiful. Of course, in that order, we had Etonam from the Volta region, Asakia from East, as well as Sika Ashanti region, Ajoko, Greater Accra, and Nana from Bono, all of them placing in that order. And for all the things that we have to do, we have cash out. It goes where Shoko *439# as many times as you can. Increase the number of tickets you have. Become one of those lucky winners. And for all the things you have to do, please make sure that you increase the stake. And when you do that, you will always be part of the bonanza. That's a good thing about it. For all the things you have to do, you have to make sure that you cash out. Let me say good morning to Alhaji Jibril of National Security, who has been deployed to the Tema Industrial Enclave. Good morning to you, as well as the Managing Director for the Tema Oil Refinery, Edmond Combat. Now, we have some great interactions to undertake for the second half, which will be after just the next 30 minutes. We'll be looking at Ghana's journey to economic stability and whether the country Ghana is really ready to exit the IMF. And you all know that when it comes to the bailout that we receive from the IMF comes with a certain agreement, what we called at the time the PCF, so to speak, because our debt had become unsustainable. And as a result of that, we needed to go cap in arms, begging the IMF to come to our rescue. The other Bretton Woods institutions, inclusive the World Bank, among others, also, we needed subsequently to get those concessionary loans from them to be able to stay afloat. And then we had to go to our external creditors to make sure that we restructure our debt because we couldn't pay our debt. I mean, in plain language, or we had become unsustainable in being able to meet our debt obligations. But before then, you would now have known that the Electric Company of Ghana, in the subject matter related to those missing containers that the minister at the time knew in office, John Jinapo, had said were missing. Now we're told that they'd been retrieved, but of course we had some of those contents still missing at the time. But there's a whole report that has been presented to the Attorney General. Where are we currently on the subject? So we're going to do justice to that. We have a head of communication from the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, the ministry. He's right here. Roxon, and Richmond Roxon is also a lawyer by profession. Good morning to you. How are you? Good morning, William. I'm doing well. How are you? Yeah, good to have you in the studio. Thank you. We have lawyer Apia Nankwa with the United Party. Thank you for joining us. Good morning. Good morning. And then, of course, we also we'll be also joined by Dr. Bernard Tutubuahin, a political strategist, but Cleto Seidu Dapila is a member of Parliament for Jirapa. He's here. Good morning to you. Good morning, my brother. Good to see you. Good to see you as well. And Dr. Samuel Efriye is an analyst in relation to the political arena and the economy as well. Good morning to you, Dr. Samuel Efriye.
Yeah, good morning, Roland. I hope you're doing well.
I'm well. I hope you've been following the MPP primaries. We'll find time and talk about it, maybe.
All right, yes, I'm available to you, sir.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what the Energy Minister, John Jinapo, did say on the subject matter of the missing ECG containers.
The taxpayers' money must be accounted for. Nobody would allow this in his or her company. We shouldn't have been there. If ECG was your company and you were the shareholder and you invested money in it, and your management came to tell you that they've awarded contracts about 9 billion when the board approved contracts for just about 3 billion. It's been a very, very difficult task. But like I said, we should never go that path again. And as minister, I will not tolerate that. If it happened in the past, it must not happen today. We funded the full document to the Attorney General. He's studying it. And if people are found culpable, I'm very confident that the law will take its course. We are not victimizing anybody. We are doing what is right and what is proper. And demand is projected to hit about 8,000 by 2040 thereabouts. Are we going to bring IPPs to fill that 4,000 megawatts gap? And are we going to pass all that cost onto the consumer? We certainly cannot. Taxpayers' money must be accounted for. Nobody would allow this in his or her company. We shouldn't have been there. If ECG was your company and you were the shareholder and you invested money in it, and your management came to tell you that they've awarded contracts about 9 billion when the board approved contracts for just about 3 billion. It's been a very, very difficult task. But like I said, we should never go that path again. And as minister, I would not tolerate that. If it happened in the past, it must not happen today. We funded the full document to the Attorney General. He's studying it. And if people are found culpable, I'm very confident that the law will take its course. We are not victimizing anybody. We are doing what is right and what is proper.
So that's what the minister did say. And Dr. Tutubohin is here. Sorry, you're being sandwiched. How are you?
Yes. Roland, I'm
good to have you.
I'm good.
Yeah,
good morning to everyone.
Yeah, we just wanted to deal with the ECG matter, and then we'll let Roxanne go. He has a meeting.
Okay.
So we wanted to do it the second hour, but you know we have to do it this time. But Roxanne, so the question that had been on the minds of many people on social media was that did we have containers missing at all? Because there was a whole brouhaha that was created by the minister in the early days of him being sworn into office.
Roland, let me say good morning to your cherished viewers. And before I proceed, I'll say congratulations to Honorable Cletus. He was recently sworn in as the board chair of NEDCO. And also congratulations to UP Plus.
And he's come like this.
Oh, yes.
Hey, board chair, NEDCO. Okay, Cletus Dapila, yes. Member of Parliament for Jirapa, is also the board chair for NEDCO.
Yes, and congratulations to UP Plus. I'm sure that in the next couple of...
They are not called UP Plus, they are called UP.
Oh, UP. You still add a plus?
Is it UP Plus?
It's UP. They add a plus.
Because it's a second generation UP.
Yes.
No, because we are adding more, you understand?
Anyway, back to the subject matter. It's important that we put it in its proper perspective. During the transition period, the previous administration, in their briefing to the incoming government, stated that ECG had 2,495 containers at the port. And the minister or the transition team requested for the document. Unfortunately, nothing was provided at the time, except by way of word of mouth. And so, upon assumption as minister, the minister visited the port, and once he got there, he noticed that the containers couldn't have been 2,000. So he proceeded to set up a committee to investigate the matter. The committee came up with this report, and the committee stated that they couldn't account for 1,300 containers. And so the initial parts where people state that the minister was causing fear and panic, and then it was just peddling falsehood, they didn't even come from him. It was a committee he set up, and then his comments were based on the report that was provided by the committee. Subsequently, another committee was put together, interagency committee, made up of the ministry, national security. You had Ministry of Transport as well. You had customs, you had GRA, supervised by the Chief of Staff's office. And that committee, through its work, traced over 2,624 containers, which was even far above what the committee informed the minister, because the committee's report was that 1,300 could not be accounted for. But this time round, we were supposed to do an overview of the entire containers of ECG assigned to ECG, and then we came to that number. From the checks, we noticed that 40 of those containers had been cleared from the port, 272 of the containers had been evacuated, and then we were sitting with national security, and then the committee had to trace the rest. Fortunately, that work has been done. The report was submitted. The Chief of Staff directed that those containers should be evacuated for them to be used by ECG. But it will be important that the content or the inventory of those containers are taken, and also the minister engaged the Minister of Finance because you have duties to be paid. We've had demurrage to also be paid as well. And so subsequently, that's where we are. As at Friday, when the minister was speaking, 1,344 of the containers had been evacuated, and then the rest, they're still going through the process of doing the evacuation.
So at the time he was talking, the containers were in the port?
Not, you can't, in fact, at the time, the containers could not be accounted for.
No, I mean, logically,
yes.
So that syncs with his narrative.
Yes.
But they were not missing.
No, you cannot say they were not missing. If you cannot find something, obviously it's missing. If you cannot find it, it's missing. If you have to go through the process to locate them, at the end of the day, it will be because you put in more effort to be able to locate them. Otherwise, if you come to the office and as minister, you are told that you have this number of containers, you would expect that once you go there,
You're head of communication. Do you think that if you send a message, and you say that you cannot find containers, and so you equate that to a conclusion that they are missing, and then you say that you now find them because they've been located, do you think that sends a different message?
Absolutely no.
To the public?
Absolutely no. Because it is important.
You don't think so?
No. Because if you can't find it, Roland, if you tell me you have a phone here, and I come here and the phone is not here, is the phone missing or not? If I have to go through...
What if the minister had taken his time and then further instructed the committee to do further checks?
No, like I mentioned, the minister's remarks was that of the committee. It wasn't the minister's personal remarks that I'm putting this out because I've gone there, I can't find it. He put together a committee. And once you, as minister, you put together a committee, you would expect that you get adequate results or sufficient results from the committee. And that is what the minister just put out. But Roland, the most important part of this whole conversation is, one, the procurement breaches. And
what are they?
If you have...
At what cost?
Let me give you an example. In 2022, the ECG board approved over 2 billion as expenditure for management. They ended up procuring close to 8 billion. In 2023, they did the same. They had a budget of about 9 billion. They ended up procuring a budget of about 2.5 billion. They ended up procuring almost 9 billion. In 2024, it happened again. And so for 3 consecutive years, you have a budget of close to 10 billion, and you procure of almost 30 billion of taxpayers' money. And the shocking part is that, you know, these subjects that we're talking about, it's not as if they were procuring goods that were material to their work. So, for example, if you say material goods to ECG's work, you're looking at transformers, you're looking at meters, you're looking at conductors. What they were procuring were cables. Some of these cables can last us at least 15 years if you don't procure any. And so, if it's your business, like the minister said, will you go the route of spending way above what has been approved? And number 2, also procuring goods that you don't need. And number 3, don't forget, you are paying demurrage. The goods are sitting at the port. You cannot clear the goods. You are also handicapped because you need the materials, and now you have to find monies to do that. And so these are matters that ought to be investigated and perpetrators prosecuted. That is the view of the ministry. Because as public officers, if you are given the responsibility of running any business or any company, you must hold fiduciary to the people of Ghana. You cannot just get up and then do what you want. At the end of the day, put in policy. Why would you, in the first place, even have a policy where once the supplier gets to import the goods and it gets to the port, it ends there? This new administration has changed that policy. Now, if ECG enters into a contract with you, you are supposed to supply the goods to ECG's designated warehouse. Previously, once you show documentation that...
You're going to any custom bonded warehouse to supply the goods there?
In fact, beyond that, once the goods even come in country, that is it. Basically, that's it. And that,
all right. But the off-taker was always ECG, right?
Of course.
Because they did the request.
Of course. Of course.
Okay. So, Mr. Dapila, we're at a point in time where the concerns have been raised, especially you take a look at the Auditor General's report, and of course, for ministry, department, and agencies, and even some state enterprises, there's every belief that over the last couple of years, there's a deliberate effort to undertake procurement, even though the services and goods are not needed. How do we cure that?
Well, thank you, Roland. This is just, it has to do with some duty bearers who are actually not doing their job. Public accountability is very, very key. If you are a public servant, and you should know that there will always be a day of accountability. So transparency, accountability is key in whatever that you do. For instance, I tell people, look, governance is a big deal. If you have been appointed to undertake a job for government, watch your back. Anything that you do, you see, sometimes when we have positions, we are overwhelmed. We think that the power will remain with us, so nobody can question us. So we tend not to be diligent in our dealings. And tomorrow, when you are called to come and account for, then people are like, it's witch hunting and all of that. That I tell every public officer, let's be guided by the work that we are entrusted to do. How on earth, if the board approves something, if the board approves some 2 billion for you to work with, and you go overboard to as much as 9 billion or 8 billion, that is recklessness. That is recklessness. You will have to account for it. If they say, okay, TV3, we are procuring, say, some bottled water. We want 100 sachets. That is what the board approved. And somebody, because he's powerful, the person says that you procure 1,000. TV3 doesn't need 1,000, because TV3 needs TV3 need money to go and support some other areas. You understand? That they can invest in other areas. So it is just recklessness on the part of duty bearers. Otherwise, I see no reason why you will procure items that are not even needed by the agency. ECG needs money to invest in other areas. But because people think that this procurement will benefit us, it will benefit my friend's company, it will benefit my own company, my relative company, or my party people's company, let's procure. So they've done procurement, and ECG is on its knees. And all of us will eventually pay the price for it. So for me, any duty bearer, whatever that you've been mandated or asked to do, do it diligently, do it the right way so that Mother Ghana will not suffer. We are all suffering. It's just not ECG. ECG is for us, it's for Ghanaians. So if out of recklessness, somebody's negligence, we incur debt, it can shoot up cost of electricity to consumers. You understand? So for me, I think it's a no-no. Let us be guided in whatever that we've been entrusted to do.
Reminds me of the National Cathedral, Lawyer Pia Dankwa. The point is, you go by the Public Procurement Act. No wrong has been done because the entity makes a request for service providers to provide a service or to supply a good. And so they undertake that. And so even if we broaden the subject matter of doing inquisition into corporate governance, whether that is right or wrong, really, it cannot be the problem of the suppliers, right? Even though they are the end beneficiaries.
Yeah, so let me wish your lovely viewers a good morning. Wish my colleagues here a good morning and say, I'm glad that this is the first day I'm coming on your show. My capacity as a proud member of the United Party Plus. You see, first of all, let me say I stand on all fours with what my brother here said.
Mr. Dapila.
Yeah, because, see, I think when you analyze the problem, I think the deeper problem is why we even do politics in this country. We've managed to create a democracy which I would term a procurement democracy. And our democracy is a procurement democracy because the reason why people do politics in this country, one is not to build a strong state. Two is not to create a situation where the interest of the citizens of this country will be protected. Because you see, for me, there are two broad issues here. One, see, we set a board of the entity to guide the entity. I think board members have a fiduciary duty to the company. So that when they're taking every decision, their first consideration is what is in the interest of the company. And ultimately, because the company is owned by Ghana, what is in the interest of the country. So the board sets a target or a limitation for you. Do not procure more than 2 billion. You understand? What it means is that they have authority to procure up until 2 billion. Any amount beyond the 2 billion is an act which is ultra-virus, which is a violation of the authority that the board grants them. Two, the board itself has a duty to procure items that will aid the company in its productivity, like you rightly said. And so, if your consideration is in what is the best interest of the company and ultimately the country, then you'll not be making useless procurements. But you will make useless procurements because your consideration is not what is in the best interest of the company and the country. Your consideration is what is in it for me, or what is in it for my...
But cables are needed by ECG.
But you know exactly how much cables we need. So if you need, let's say, 10, and you go and procure 100,
you keep for future value. You hedge yourself against
no. So you take because you know
upward
something,
adjustment of price in the future.
You know something. You know, I know the second topic will be the whether or not we can exit.
Yes, rationalizing expenditure and all
that.
The
biggest impediment to whether or not we can exit or not has to do with the debts in the energy sector. And we know that the IMF issue borders on the very foundation of the stability of our economy. So they are reckless acts. The reckless act of the members of the ECG goes to the very root of whether or not we can sustain our economy or not. And I'm saying they do that because the reason why they do their politics is not to create a strong state. It's not to create a situation where the interests of Ghanaians can be met. But they are doing politics because of their parochial interest. You understand? And for me, the issue becomes, how strong is the internal governance structures? How strong? Because is there a case that no auditor during the internal audits raised issues about these?
I don't understand.
You see, if the internal auditors,
the auditor will only take a look at infractions within the audit process.
Yeah, but they are clear infractions.
They are clear acquisition processes.
They are clear infractions if the board grants you authority to procure up to 2 billion. And you go way above that. That's a clear infraction. Two, you need to also question the usefulness of what is being procured in the first place. So that if you have to take a new government to come into the picture for all these infractions to be noticed, then there's a problem. You understand? Then there's a massive and fundamental problem. And you see, we talk about accountability. We talk about accountability. I stand on all fours with the words of the president. That we shouldn't be doing these public accountability issues, in Parliament for doing sick, a clear case of, once again, doing something to represent something. I stand with all forces with the president when he says that beyond their meeting, where there are clear infractions, we need to start prosecuting them. Because there must be deterrence. There must be something people ought to
prosecution
know.
On what? Based on what charges?
Causing financial loss to the state. And in that causing financial, there's negligently causing financial loss to the state. There's woefully causing financial loss to the state. I'm saying that because of their wickedness, we have a situation where the energy sector debts, beyond it affecting business. We all, about 3 or 4 months ago, I came and said that we had to take a bitter pill because all Ghanaians had to be paying, one
CD for the liquid.
And to realize that these debts are there because of the recklessness of people we put into public office. I'm saying once again that the biggest problem that impedes us in whether or not we can successfully exit the IMF program, because when you take all the other indicators, we are massively on track.
We are on track on energy.
We're massively on track. But I'm saying that where we have a massive shortfall is the energy sector debt. That's true. Yeah. And that we could have exited this year.
That's true.
But that's where we have the biggest shortfall. And I'm saying that, you see, accountability also means letting people know that there's consequence for their actions. Accountability doesn't only mean we asking you, but where there are clear infractions that has caused losses to the state, then there must be consequences. There must be consequences. So these people who clearly have made procurements, clearly without the interest of the state in mind, who've made procurements of things that we clearly did not need, who have gone outside the scope of their mandate. Are we just going to ask them some few questions at the Parliament Accountability Forum and let them go scot-free? Certainly not. Because we are building a political culture. And in that building of our political culture, there's a burden on all of us as Ghanaians to shift what fuels our politics. And what fuels our politics ought to be. And when I say politics here, I don't mean just being in power, but also being in opposition. I mean the journalists, I mean the CSOs, anybody who claims they are practicing politics ought to understand that their only mandate, whenever they are taking decision, is in this action I'm taking, how does it build a strong state? This decision I'm taking, how does it inure to the well-being of the citizens? So that if the answer to both questions are no, then that person ought to be far away from politics. And we can only build that culture. We can only create that system where people who claim they're doing politics will do same with the two considerations of building a strong state and create a situation where the well-being of the citizens are protected. If we begin prosecuting people who are doing parochial politics, and we can use the ICG issue as a starting point.
I say.
We need to go after them. Anybody who must go after all these people who are doing stomach politics and have made themselves rich, we must go after people we put there to checkmate them. So was there no audit done? That it for 8 years this has gone on, and you have to take a fresh government for these issues to come up. Listen, people, that's why we formed the UP Plus. Yes, and one of our core mandates is want to bring decency into politics, to do politics that has the interest of Ghana at heart, and that's why our motto is Ghana first.
UP Plus.
That's why, because we need to change how politics is done in Ghana. We told you that if the NDC do things and we feel is right, we will say it. And I've been saying it when they've done things, because that politics of opposing everything government is doing doesn't make sense to me. Because then the question is, why are you doing the politics? Is it that you just want the power and don't even know how to use the power? Then when you've done that, then when they're also going off track, then you have the credibility to oppose. Because what fuels you is the interest of the country. And so to end, and I'm glad my learned friend is here. No mercy for the cripple. In fact, they are not cripples. No mercy for the evil. Let's go after these people and let's make sure that we start a process of making people know that there are consequences for your actions.
Yeah. Nobody has been prosecuted for a very long time. I think the last time we had some prosecution of assault in relation to misapplication of funds or making approvals of such nature was the Chachu Chikata case. Of course, it's come under dispute many times as well because he's exonerated. Abuga Pele.
Yes, by his own government.
For poorly supervised.
By his own government.
Okay. So at the end of the day, Dr. Tutubuanyi, we need to take a relook at this. Is that not it?
Yes. So once again, good morning to our viewers, and good morning to yourself and my co-panelists. Yes, I think that for me, I don't really condone and connive with corruption. And so any other matter relating to corruption, I would probably want to see a government or a country where corruption becomes a kind of, something that is hated. And it is not something that we actually entertain. I think about 2 weeks ago, we saw in China that a minister was involved in corruption, and he has been sentenced to death.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that tells you that the kind of punishment that comes with, corruption in certain parts of the world is something, that would serve as a deterrent to the younger generation coming up. And so that is what we want to see. And I think that I agree with Lawyer Pierre Dankwa that if anyone, has been cited, if anybody has been mentioned, the courts must deal with the person, and due processes should be followed, and these people should be brought to book. But you see, Roland, the fact still remains that in as much as we talk about politicians, I think that we are equally forgetting about, the administrators, people who work with ECG, the technical people, the professionals who are in there, and the kind of, procurement breaches that sometimes they tend to cause. I see no reason why a whole procurement officer of ECG would sit down and probably sit unconcerned for items to be procured, and you are telling me that you cannot even trace it. I find it a bit fascinating. And that talks about probably the level and caliber of people that we put in public positions. Now, because the little knowledge that I have about procurement is that when we are going through negotiations and all the procurement processes, one thing that you should be doing is probably to be in the same line with an agency that is involved in the procurement processes. Besides that, if you are dealing directly with a supplier, you should be able to track communication, track whatever you have procured until it gets to your doorstep. And so I feel that, yes, politicians probably might have caused certain damages. But again, what about the professionals who are in there? So if you are going to cause, causing financial loss, you are going to call for causing financial loss, the law to be triggered. We must not just limit it to the politician. Those people who are paid every month, to deal with procurement issues should also be called to answer some of these questions. And we don't need to leave them to sit just like that and probably shift all blames to the doorstep of the politician. You see, I am a teacher. If I go to class and I'm teaching and I'm not teaching well, if students complain, obviously my VC will not be happy with me. All right. And even though when there is a damage, the name of my VC will be mentioned. But again, the lecturer who stands in the class to teach the students is equally, at fault. All right. Because VC will not go and teach. All right. He is involved more in administrative issues. And I am the lecturer. I must make sure that I impart knowledge. So if I am not imparting the right knowledge and my students are not faring well, they get to the job market and they are not performing, then obviously I have failed in my capacity as a lecturer. My core duties, I have failed in it. And so I believe that, look, Roland, we are moving this country into another level of economic development, right? And it is very important that we revisit our laws, we revisit our regulations, the level of professionalism, the code of ethics, and all that are running professional bodies and institutions. We need to beef it up. Besides, look, our laws are too relaxed to the extent that somebody commits an offense and we find a way of sort of protecting that individual. And I feel that these things will not take us anywhere. Look, Lawyer Pierre Dankwa was talking about the energy sector debt, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that our ability to recover from, the economic downdrams, right, probably will be hinging on our ability to deal with this energy crisis. Why is it that every year it's either ECG or Ghana Water Works? Why? Almost every time. Do you remember the time that Ghana Water Works procured, items which would be needed 10 years? You remember? They procured items up to a period of 10 years, forgetting that even expiry date would affect the items. And they were careless. So if you cause such kind of carelessness, do you think that we should leave you to go scot-free?
Yeah.
Lawyers, you talk about the veil of incorporation.
Yeah.
All right. And at what time must we deal with that veil of incorporation? When you have willfully, deliberately caused an action which probably would bring more debt to a country. So you say that you did that in the interest of the nation. And so what? I think that our laws should be strengthened. The implementations of our laws should be followed to the letter. And it is not a matter of the fact that this person is a politician and that person is not a politician. For me to end, let me again reiterate this point. We keep saying that, you see, when you extend politics into administrative issues, these are some of the things that you get. All right. Obviously, governments come, presidents have so much power, they appoint people based on partisan lines with little regard to professional capabilities and abilities. When it happens like this, you end up putting people into certain offices, especially sensitive areas like procurement, and they would underperform and they would leave such huge debts on the country. And when that happens, the ordinary person selling ice water or pure water on the street is the one who is going to suffer. So I want to believe that if we want to build a country where, we appears to be strong, in terms of our economy, in terms of public sector performances and all that, these are some of the indicators we need to tackle. And I believe that when we are able to do that, it will save this country a lot of, rots.
All right. Dr. Samuel Efriye.
Yes.
You've been following the subject matter of the ECG containers and the procurements that have been made thereof, even though they were not needed within the period that the purchases had been done, or the supply, so to speak. To the point that even those containers were told had resulted in ECG incurring a lot of costs because of demurrage. What do you say to that?
Yes, Roland, greetings to you and your the co-panelists as well. When some of these issues comes in and you hear these politicians talking tough, sometimes we wonder how the end will be. For me, we have made corruption attractive in our country, that successive government will come in, will tend to accuse each other with an act when there's a change in government. But at the end of the day, you see that nothing serious is being done. I'm wondering whether in our constitution or in our laws, we don't have these kind of the Chinese act of firing squad or killing people when they found them culpable of these corruptible acts.
Yes, Ghanaians don't want to hear that.
And I think that we can have a tough measures. I agree to Dr. Tutu that the punishment for corrupt politicians or even technocrats, I think is not enough. It's not so tough to deter that these corrupt individuals will be a deterrent. And that is where the focus should be. Because if you look at the ECG, you know, we will talk about the economic issues that even the government is striving a lot on the economic. If you are not careful, the energy sector will derail all these achievements. And you can base on the forecast that if there's no energy reforms, by 2026, there will be a debt of $2 billion for the energy sector. So if things are not, if we don't have a good governance system for the energy sector, seriously, it will affect the economic stride of this government. And that is why I believe that the politicians, sometimes they talk tough. I'm just saying that, and I know that maybe the Honorable George Napo can try to do his best on these actions, because it tends to be becoming too normal of some of these things that people will be found culpable, and at the end of the day, nothing will be done. When you look at the contracts that have been signed, 347, of which 202 has been abrogated at no cost and also no legal issue, then it means that efficiency, because World Bank has reported that if things are not done well, in inefficiency in our energy sector, still these things will be hanging on our neck. So, Roland, what I'm saying is that we need to be tough on corrupt officials. When you look at the report that we go on these, what we call it, parliament, when they go, some of these statements, when they make, you see serious and these petty mistakes, and you see big men, chief executive, accountants, making these mistakes as if that, and they have their guys to come and do some of these reports. And sometimes you ask yourself whether there is a professionalism about some of these work career or what the work that they are doing. Dr. Tutu and I, we lecture. Our student assessors, if you're going for promotion, they just use the report of the students to assess you for your promotion, even the public sector. So if I don't do well, I cannot sustain myself as a lecturer or as a teacher. So in our governance system, in some of these public institutions, we are making things attractive for corrupt officials, and that is what is affecting not only ECG, but other. But we need tough ministers, politicians, and also technocrats. And I think if these things are done, we can make a lot of strides in these sectors. If not, Roland, I'm sorry that we might be talking loosely at the end of the day and nothing will happen as well.
Procurement infractions, 2018, it was 3 billion. That is the ones that were irregularities not recovered or recoverable, etc. Irregular, whether it's because of over invoicing or, you know, etc. And well, by 2020, it was 12 billion. 2021, 17 billion. 2022, 15 billion. Then we went down 2023, 8 billion. Then election year 2024, we hit 18 billion. I mean, that's the quantums as we have it. Now, what are the recommendations? Because I know for each report that's undertaken based on investigations or inquisitions by a committee, there has to be some key recommendations. And who are those going to be held liable? And especially because you're a legal practitioner, I think using the word is more appropriate.
Roland, first, let me deal with...
What does the report say in relation to that?
Let me deal with...
Please be short, so I will move to the IMF quickly.
Let me deal with a few comments. The first thing, in my opinion, when it comes to dealing with rotten public sector, is the political will. That's the first thing. And you would see that ever since the minister took office, there's been a political will to deal with this matter. Because in the past, we've seen where allegations have been made, and we've even had the minister or the head of the agency or even the president protect the person involved. Yeah. That has not been the case in this situation. We've seen Honorable Jinapo go out there, say everyone will be held accountable. A letter was written to the security services for investigation way back. National Security took charge. People were invited, some staff of ECG were asked to step aside. The former managing director of ECG's caution statement was taken. So it should tell you the level of commitment. And last week, during the agency tour, the minister reiterated that the era where civil servants decide that they are going to engage in malfeasance will be a thing of the past, and that he's going to ensure that if you engage in any mismanagement or any inefficiencies or you cause loss to the company, you are going to be held liable. So those reforms are already in place. When you look at procurement as well, the minister has put in place reforms, and that's why from January to date, you can see that ECG's budget as compared to last year, and its expenditure has dropped about 70%. If you look at the Kwekwena-led ECG, so far this year, the procurement is around 2.2 billion, and they've procured material goods, they procured transformers, they've procured meters, and that's why generally if you see the lights being on, these are part of the reasons why you made those progress. So the first point is that the political will is there, and back to what my learned friend said, the minister is not interested in shielding anyone. Each person will answer for his or her crimes. You have the assurances of the minister and government that will be done. And to the report, the overview, what I will say, the long and short of the report is that these are the things that the ministry has uncovered as security services and attorney general advice on the way forward. So that's the long and short of the whole report. We've come across procurement breaches, we've come across expenditure, we've come across revenue manipulations. These are the findings, together with other security agencies, together with other agencies. So you have the transport, port. These are what we've come across. So Attorney General, advise and prosecute. So basically, that will be the overview of the recommendation.
So that's for the Attorney General to do his work.
Of course.
So the report you have perused,
yes,
which you have made available to us.
Yes,
of course. What do the recommendations indicate in relation to those who undertook decisions or made decisions that caused infractions or losses to ECG?
They must be prosecuted.
Who are they?
Like I mentioned, at the end of the day, the investigations will be based on what the security services will do. For us as a ministry, what we've done is...
No, this is a report.
Yes.
And the minister has come publicly.
Yes.
And this is the second time. Yes. The first time he said the containers were missing. Then you say that he also wanted to undertake a detailed investigation. So that investigation has been undertaken by the committee. Yes. They've put together a report for which you're speaking to.
Yes.
And I'm asking you, what are their recommendations based on the decision makers at the time with ECG, whether they're related to the board, to the ministry, or even to the management itself, that led to these breaches or these losses in the quantums that you mentioned?
Yes.
Who are they?
So you want the names of the persons?
I've asked you a question. You are retaining the answers you want.
I mentioned a while ago.
Because you've gone on this wild goose chase.
Roland, it's not a wild goose chase. Okay, Roland, I mentioned a while ago.
You've gone on this wild way of commenting.
Yes.
Opening the Pandora's box,
yes,
making claims that the management at the time
yes,
undertook actions that led to massive losses to ECG. And ECG is a Ghana corporation.
Yes.
And so each taxpayer, all of us right here, have interest in ECG.
Yes.
Indeed, it's the only sole distributor of power in Ghana. And so their matter is of public interest. Yes. And I'm asking you this very question. Who are those individuals that you have seen in that report, which you are saying for prosecutorial purposes, the AG should advise on, but for matters of public interest and knowledge, have been, so to speak, fingered in the decision that led to the losses in these procurements?
Roland, I answered that question earlier.
Who are they?
The first thing I mentioned was that the former managing director, as his caution statement has been taken. The only reason why, as a lawyer, I'll put his name out is because initially when the report came out, he denied being invited. And that is why I'm reiterating the point. If he has to get to the point where we'll put out his caution statement, I'm sure that the ministry will take a decision. There are other members of ECG that have been also invited. And to be fair to them, that is why the report is the learned Attorney General. He will look at it and advise, rather than put their names out. Like I mentioned, I put Dubique's name out because he came out to deny. And if he wants to further deny, then we'll have no option than to put the caution statement out. But to be fair to them, the Attorney General will look at the report and then at the end of the advice, if he decides that he's going to prosecute, to do that. It's the same with oral. We've seen the reports, people's names have been mentioned, but the AG will look at it and then the AG will advise and decide on who to charge and then who to prosecute.
Thank you very much. Richard, you know, lawyers are always, always cautious when they are doing public communication.
No, before,
so that's a problem.
Without mentioning it, that is also include administrative.
Yes, I mean, basically managers. Managers actually are pure administrators. I mean, it's not the political people who take that decision. But let's transition to the subject of the IMF also. So dovetail your conversation. You know, massive public losses so far. I saw you putting together the figures. Yes.
Quick.
Your time is up.
No, yes, but quick point. In fact, all the panelists mentioned the energy sector together with the IMF, and that's why I'm making this comment. The minister recognizes that, the government recognizes that, and that is why over the period since he's been in office, there's been reforms. The reform is to ensure that we deal with these sector shortfalls. If you look at this year alone, the government is spending about 28 billion on energy sector shortfalls. And next year, the IMF projects that if things don't improve, we are going to get to 35 billion. And so if you look at the overall reforms, that's why first thing the minister did when he took office was to set up a committee to look at reforms. So we will look at the power sector, we look at the petroleum sector, and based on that, there's a work plan that has been put in place to be able to deal with these challenges. The first of these challenges will be ECG itself. If you look at ECG is the heartbeat of the energy sector. Yeah. They are the distributors together with NETCO, but largely it's ECG. Whatever ECG does has adverse effect on the energy sector. But if you come into office and you have a debt of 80 billion with ECG alone, you know that you are in crisis.
80 billion.
80 billion.
Ghana cedis.
80 billion. ECG alone. ECG's debt to utility players and suppliers. But as of June 2025, that had been reduced to 67 billion because of some of these reforms that the minister has put in place. You're looking at the revenues of ECG. The revenues have gone up. ECG has recorded its highest revenue ever in its history by recording about 1.7 billion Ghana cedis. Beyond that, you are looking at payment of power consumed.
Yeah.
Everybody who consumes power must pay for it because it's not a free commodity. You owe IPPs $1.7 billion. How are you going to pay if they generate and you don't get the needed revenue? And that is why His Excellency the President said, or as Cabinet approved, that every power consumer must pay, including MDAs. When I say MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies. So everyone has to pay. There are only few institutions that have exception. Those are going to be on post-payment meters because you cannot, for theaters at the hospital, you can't put them on prepayment because if there's a surgery and then the lights goes off, you know what can happen. Okay. And so all of them are supposed to pay. Those ones, their payments will be made through goods and services allocated in their budget. And then for all other agencies, all of them will be on prepayment meters. And so the reforms are being undertaken by the minister. If you look at the IPP renegotiations, what has been done is, number one, we've renegotiated the legacy debt, and then some of the IPPs have taken a haircut. The second part is that the capacity charges involved have been reduced drastically. You had some of the IPPs doing 18 kilowatts per hour. Now they're doing 7, they're doing 6. That's about 60-70% reduction in tariffs. Once you do that, what it means is that your cost of generation will go down significantly, and then eventually will affect that. And so all these reforms are in place to ensure that where we've been in time past, we're not there again.
The total legacy debt, how much?
Total legacy debt, we have to compile that because there are a number. You have debts to IPPs about 1.7. You have we had a guarantee, World Bank guarantee that the previous administration ran down over 500 million to 5 million. They ran the entire guarantee down. There's guarantee for car power. They also ran it down. There are utility sector debts that overall you're looking at about 3.3 billion. So when you look at the entire shortfalls, it's a lot. But be rest assured that...
And all these USD, right?
Yes,
dollars.
Yes, be rest assured that the government...
Our board, some of the board, is the board, so to speak, at the time of the administration when these infractions were committed, also mentioned in the report.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the board, they have the fiduciary... They have to ensure that the policy direction of government is implemented. So where the management is
on
going,
the strategy side,
of course, they have to do that. And so if you're a board and then you don't take your work seriously, or eventually you sit down for your management to overspend, obviously you cannot be left out.
All right. Well,
thank you, Roland.
Thank you very much. That'll be your last comment.
Let me also commend
we know that
the Energy Minister for being diligent in his work as a minister. Let's commend him. He's been able to keep the
well,
lights
he told
on.
that the containers were missing. Apparently, they were not missing.
No, that's not fair, Roland.
Oh, but the containers are missing. Where
because
are
he
they?
created
No, where are they?
If you can't
Where
find
are
it,
they?
spectacle.
If you
cannot find it,
if you can't find the containers, obviously they are missing. Roland, let me also add that one of the things that he did that I want to commend him and ECG is that he's been able to, out of some 347 contracts that were awarded due to due diligence, 202 of these contracts were cancelled. They've been cancelled for their questionable contracts that were awarded. So in his bid to ensure value for money, so if it wasn't for the minister, 202 contracts were awarded. These people were just going to take government money for free. You understand? But these contracts are cancelled.
$300 million.
Yes, some $300 million plus safe. And no judgment debt will be accrued to the government because they are actually contracts that are not needed. People just try to do it to let some people benefit. So let's commend the minister for that. Roland, corruption, as all of us are saying around this table, is the problem of this country. Whether politicians, whether administrators, whether, you see, corruption, we made it attractive. Look, go to the ministries and agencies, people that are supposed to be paid to do government work. Even when they take a file, they do a job, small job for you, they want you to give them something. That is corruption. We've made it so attractive in this country. So we need to go to the drawing table to look at what we can do to make corruption unattractive so that public servants or even Ghanaians, we don't get ourselves involved in corruption. People go into politics, as my brother said, to make money. That is debatable. Some people also go into other government areas that are not political, yet they too are in there to make money. So it's attitudinal.
You don't want to make money in politics.
What I'm saying is that, what I'm trying to say is that, Roland, corruption it has to do with the mindset of an individual. Some people are there, they will never want to be corrupt. We know. And some people are there, they will do whatever to be rich at the quickest rate that they can. That's the point that I'm making. So if we make corruption, the punishment punitive enough, I think that it will help this country. Otherwise, everybody, check, I'm in Public Accounts Committee. Some of the issues that come up there, why? Somebody dies, you attend the person's funeral, for 26 months, somebody is validating the person to be collecting money. Yet management attended.
Wait, you mean the person is dead, but still
the person is dead.
26 months
for 26 months, the person
posthumous.
Yes, the person is always validated. So and somebody is doing that, and because the person is benefiting.
But who is collecting into which account?
You understand?
Who is withdrawing from the account?
That is why it means that there is connival.
Yeah.
There is connival. Otherwise, the validator will not. It's not controller. Controller will not know. You understand? If the organization,
if you don't come and tell controller
and report to controller that this name should be expunged from the payroll, the person will continue to receive salary. So, Roland, basically, let's make corruption unattractive so that Ghana can develop this country and provide the needed services that everybody needs. IMF.
No, we'll talk about the IMF when we come back. But this is what the Bank of Ghana governor has been saying about all the meetings they've been having. And you know that they've been to the States within the period of the UN General Assembly, also the World Bank meetings ongoing, etc., just to make sure that we have everything right. But for all the things that have to be done, we have to make sure that the right things are done. Now, the question then is, if we exit the IMF, where will we be in a good position to say that we will be very prudent in our expenditure so that we don't have to go back? Remember, if we go back again, that will be 17 or 18 times we'll be going after this. The Bank of Ghana governor.
was highly expansionary. It led to us exiting the international financial markets. There was resort to domestic financing. You remember all the sovereign downgrades that we had to suffer. And so we came into office with lots of liquidity, high inflation, exchange rate that was, depreciating widely. And I remember when we came in, there was talk about whether we should, cancel the program altogether. There were doubts as to whether we would be able to, carry on with the program and end it. But I'm happy to say that 8 months down the road, we have turned the corner. Ghana is back. Inflation, we met it at nearly 24%. Currently, it's down to 9.4%. We have seen a strong rebound in growth. We are running ahead of program targets for the year on almost everything. You name it, inflation, reserves build-up, economic growth, we are running ahead. And we are happy to announce that we will be able to exit the fund program come next year. And so far, so good. First 8 months has been revealing. We think that we have done a good job. We are getting all the upgrades from our rating agencies, which shows clearly that we are on the right path. Let me also take the opportunity to thank the IMF for the support. We've had tremendous policy support. They've worked with us in this.
And that's the governor for the Bank of Ghana. And you take a look at this, the question then has always been, will we be prudent enough if we exit the IMF? He says that by the next year, we should be thinking around it. And be thinking that.
Well, Roland, let me commend the governor, the finance minister, and then those who are manning the economic sector of this government. Let me commend them. They are gelling very well, and they are doing a yeoman job. Roland, the governor, what he said is commendable, and I believe we can actually do it. Roland, we should be able to run our own affairs. Ghana, we generate so much resource. We have resources. We generate. It's reckless. We just talked about corruption. If we plug the loopholes and gather all the money that we generate, I tell you that we'll be able to run the affairs of this country without any external or credit support from the IMF. These Bretton Woods foundations have been supporting us, yet we've never been out of our woods. So it tells you that we should be able to deal with our own problems financially, economically. We should be able to grow this country, our economy side, that we will be stable financially and all of that. Roland, like he said, we inherited a challenging economy. Some inflation, 23%, 23.8%, now is 9.4%. Exchange rate was some around 15, 14, 15 plus. Today, it's around some 10, 11. And if we are able to manage the micro economic indicators very well, if we're able to do it very well, there's no need for us to be asking for external support. We've been out of the international financial market for so many, but we are on. We are on. It tells you that if we are able to manage things very well, we'll be able to do it. Today, Roland, the finance ministry, statutory releases are going on very well. Look, when we came, most of the statutory funds that were capped have been uncapped, and payments have been made to all these agencies, health insurance, GET Fund, Common Fund, and I can tell you that when was the last time you've heard that service providers are on strike because they have not been paid? No, it's a thing of the past. You understand? So it tells you that if we save, if we do well, if we manage the economy very well, we'll be able to run the affairs of this country without any external borrowing. You borrow money, they give us money, give us conditions, and at the end of the day, we are still in crisis. So why don't you think outside the box that, look, let's do it on our own. Let's don't depend on anybody. Let's manage the little resources that we generate so that at least nobody give us facility and give us conditions to obey. So for me, by and large, I think that we are getting there, and I believe in the handlers of the economy, that they will be able to take us out of IMF so that we can be financially stable, so that our economy, we can grow our economy on our own. Productivity. We need investment. We need to invest. Ghana, we don't owe anything. Go to the banking sector. How many banks do we owe? Most of the corporations, agencies that generate, they are foreign owned. Monies are repatriated. How can we be financially stable? So we need to invest in our own.
We need to look inward.
Yes, inward. If we don't do that, we will not be able to make it. Well, we don't generate anything. The hotels, foreign owned, banks, foreign owned, even the eateries, most of the good eateries, it's foreign owned. You understand? We go to put in money, they repatriate the money. How can we be sustainable financially? So we need to invest in our own. Airline, we don't have it. Kudos to President Mahama. He's putting a team to be able to come out with an airline. And I know before he exits power, we'll be able to have an airline for this country. We just don't have anything. We don't produce, and yet we want to be rich. If you don't produce, how do you earn? You cannot earn much. So that is the bane of our problem. Let's invest in our own. Let's have agencies that can give us money. That can also create jobs for our youth, unemployed youth. Once our youth are working, productivity will increase and Ghana will be sustainable.
At the end of the day, if you take a look at the GTP plan, and when I was speaking to Alan the other day, he said for us to be able to make sure, even though we get a trade surplus, it's 6 billion recorded within the past 8 months, the CD has, you look at the year-to-date appreciation, 21% in excess, one of the best performing currencies, so to speak, but it's not enough. The backbone has to be strong. Otherwise, we go back to doing the same things, right? What should we be doing differently?
Yeah, I think last week we spoke about this. Because you see, what we've done every 17 times we've been to the IMF, that when we've exited, we just go back and borrow more. You understand? Now we need to do things differently. Last week I said that borrowing in itself isn't bad. It all depends on what you are doing with the money. Now there must be a strategy. There must be a strategy to engender growth for a very long time, to an extent when that growth can be sustained or sustainable. And I think the key here is what government does with the role that it ought to play in the economy, how government handles it. Because in every economy, the role government plays is in two folds: the fiscal policy and the monetary policy. Fiscal policy here, we are talking about how government spends its money and how government will generate revenue. In the monetary policy, you are talking about how Bank of Ghana deals with issues concerning inflation, foreign exchange, and all that. I think the key to the growth and the sustainment of that growth is in our constitution, Article 6, and a recognition that private sector ought to be the engine of growth. And that is a duty of government to create the right environment for businesses to thrive. If there's one thing that history has taught us, the fact that in economies that are strong, industry, SME, agri are the backbone. You understand? So for me, I think government needs to show clear commitment to building the small and medium scale enterprises. Government has to have a policy of building the the industrial side wing, and then also agri. I think the blueprint is in our GTP, and also, in fact, when you go to the Ministry of Trade, the 10-point industrialization agenda. Yes, and for us in the United Party, our mantra is Ghana first. And you saw evidence of that mantra in the fact that our leader met with His Excellency John Mahama, and other than it's not by force, but at least he gave him his GTP. That's His Excellency. We are all building Ghana together. You have the power. You can go through and then choose which programs you think will inure to benefit, because His Excellency Mahama campaigned strongly on the need for a 24-hour economy. Some of us feel that 24-hour economy is the consequences of the right policies. You understand? So when you put the right policies in place, then the automatic consequence will be an economy that is 24 hour. So first, government should find a strategy of boosting industry. Government should find a strategy of building SMEs. And last week, I give you a clear example. Now, one of the cardinal problems we have in our country is the fact that you have an economy where close to about 80% or 80% are not even known to the government. And so government doesn't even know them. So government will struggle to take revenue from them. There's no deliberate support to these. Now, government can use a radical SME support strategy, you understand, as a bait to formalize a lot of these. So let's say government says it's implementing a government loan guarantee scheme. You understand? Where government is going to guarantee or create guarantees, or central bank working together with the Ministry of Finance and give to some of these banks that, listen, what's called this is a guarantee for ISMEs, to be given resources to ISMEs. And then attached to the program is a strategy to build the structures of these small and medium scale enterprises. But there'll be a requirement that you ought to be registered. Then once you are registered and government gives you that institutional support, and then you access capital as a result of these loan guarantee schemes. Don't you think that a lot of these are informal businesses, the cocoa seller, the watchy seller, you understand, the shoemakers, who largely are all informal, would want to formalize so that they can have access to these governmental supports. Government can, by a stroke of its policy, say that mandate banks to give a certain percentage of their loan portfolios to startups. So there must be a comprehensive strategy by government to build what's called SMEs. Also, we must also take advantage of the PPP. So a lot of these large infrastructure developments, government does not need to even put its money in. Yeah, you understand? Find a strategy of attracting private investments into some of these large infrastructural projects to free government money, you understand, to other sectors that also need help. Agric. For a very long time, cocoa has, but we all know the potential of palm. The fact that Indonesia, Malaysia came to learn about palm in Ghana here, and is now the backbone of their economy. We need to relook at cocoa. Whether or not the strategy, how we fund the cocoa, is the right way to go. Because I've been calling for deregulation of the cocoa sector. Because also very central to any economic transformation is the ability of your citizens to consume. So if your citizens don't have the power, then you can produce if they don't consume. Because Gihok last week said that they are struggling to implement the 24-hour economy. Because people are not buying.
They said they refuted that report.
They say anyway. But the point is that 24-hour economy is a
demand-driven.
Exactly, and it's a consequence. So putting the policies that would necessitate people thinking that they want to keep their factories open for 24 hours. So this government has done well, as in terms of managing to keep the macroeconomic stability. No two ways. They've done well. But where we are right now, they need to deliberately implement strategies that would engender growth over a long period of time to the extent where it is sustainable. You understand? So that we break this cycle of you go to IMF, then when we get a chance, we just go and borrow and spend, and then within 2-3 years, we go back. And we can only do that if government uses its power. Government uses its role in the economy to deliberately build private sector, to reduce their expenditure by take advantage of the PPP, both industry and build agric. And then when we've done that, then the economy will grow to the extent when we would not have to go back.
I'll come to you for the last word, but let me go to Professor Friye.
G-Tech will arrest you.
Sorry, Dr. Friye. My apologies to you.
Yes.
Is there a fear, any trepidation at all that, look, we've been there before, we've celebrated it before, exiting an IMF program, and then the frustration is we go back because we're just not disciplined when it comes to the expenditure?
Roland, you just use the word indiscipline. We have not been disciplinary enough for us to, in terms of our economic management. So it has become normal of going to the IMF every time you have financial, because we have not been creative and innovative enough, and also be disciplined in terms of our fiscal policies. We just sign or exit from IMF, and then we just go in on borrowing spree and invest the money in some areas. 4 years will come, whatever debt, if the leaders don't care, they just shift it up to whatever time that they want for generations to come and pay, So the way we've managed our economy, seriously, Roland, we have not been sincere to Ghanaians for how we manage our economy. And that is why we have been going back and forth for how many, more than times, 15 or 13 times of going to
17.
17 times, and that is a disgrace to our economic leaders, especially our leaders who make us go to some of these things. And when you look at the reason why we have been going to IMF, is about debt issues. It's about indiscipline, inefficiency in our fiscal policies and directions. And you get people that they don't care, they spend the money, and it's tied to policies, promises. You can realize that these politicians or parties will come in with a lot of promises, and when they come to power, then they don't look, they see the gap in between of how to finance some of these promises, and then it becomes a burden. And the only way is to go in for what do we call it, a borrowing. And this borrowing spree has affected Ghana a lot. And you come in, then you have to pay back and some of these. So we have not. And I understand what Lawyer Pierre was saying about how we tend to neglect the SMEs in our economic development. When you go to all these emerging economies, you can realize that, and even the advanced countries, you can realize that SMEs has not been neglected because they pose about almost about 70 or 80% of our economic, that is the businesses that we hold in those countries. But we have not been strategic enough in terms of Ghanaians, in our perspective about how we tend to manage some of these things. And that is critically unacceptable. When you talk about SMEs, but when I've studied the Chinese SMEs and how they are able to develop it, especially the smaller ones, they group them, they train them, they equip them, and upgrade them to their various levels, because as they become international and also become more transnational. But we here, in most of our management of economy, we don't look at those areas, and we think that giving them small loans, just making them available to maybe some party affiliate, then we just make them the SMEs working. And that is not what we tend to make our economic to stand. And before I end, you realize that the IMF report is stressing on our GDP growth based on our agri and services. So it means that even though we are having some kind of stability in our economic front, it behoves on us to also look at the agri sector, where Lawyer Pierre was talking much more on the, we talk about palm, we talk about cocoa, we have to deregularize them. At least there should be a new way of doing things, so that we not be turned as always the traditional one. We say, oh, let's more industries, less this. We have not done much to ourselves as Ghanaians, and we need people where they can manage our economy for us. And I think that the governor need to be cautious about how we're spending much on our stability of our dollar, in terms of our exchange rate. Because if you can realize that every month, at least there's $1 billion being sent in to stabilize the exchange rate. Yes, that is good. But as they are doing it, they should also focus on the agri sector and other areas that will have the multiply effect for our economy. If that be so, and we handle the energy sector very well, we improve on our mobilization of, that is our revenue. We improve on it, because IMF have cautioned us that we need to improve on that. And lastly, they are also drawing our attention of the application of artificial intelligence in our economic management. And they realize that America is using them in most of their various sectors and is helping them. But they are saying that as emerging economies, we can also plan ourselves to also use artificial intelligence in management of our economy. And I think we can stabilize ourselves and improve so that we don't go back and forth and complain much of our economic inefficiency.
Yeah. Dr. Sutubuahi, what should be the caution? Because it looks like we're set. Of course, the president says that Ghana will not rush to the capital market, so to speak, internationally, so that we just go and be borrowing non-concessionary, so to speak.
I mean, this issue about borrowing hasn't been today. Yeah. Can you imagine IMF 17 times since 1966? 17 good times. What does it tell us? I mean, it is telling us something that probably we've not paid attention to.
Which is what?
3 things. That our relationship with IMF appears to be repeating itself every now and then. It is becoming recurring. All right? And it is also telling us that the IMF bailout has never been sustainable. The third one is that probably the managers of the economy have decided to deliberately, do certain things for us to go IMF. Now, you see, when it gets to this point, that is where it becomes more of a worry. Who says we may not go the 18th time, the 19th time, or the 20th time? Does it mean that Ghana is actually doing something to help itself? Probably to reduce, the frequency at which we go IMF. And when we are going IMF, what is the essence? What is the benefit? What are we getting from it? At the end of the day, you go, the recent one, the 16th one, okay, we couldn't even spend more than 5 years, and then we went back again.
2014, 2015?
2014, 2015, and then we went back,
that was in 2015.
2015, and then we went back.
And then we left in 2019.
19, and then after coming out from 2019,
we went back 2023.
2023.
But we went back in the ICU. It was terrible.
Yes.
The last one.
I understand. You get it. Anytime you go IMF, it will be terrible because it means that there is so much deficit you cannot bear. There's so much debt you can't pay that probably your economy is running down. So you must go for assistance. So IMF, Bretton Woods come in. What are they doing? They are just telling you, don't do this, you can't do that, do this, you can't do this, do that. Does it mean that as managers of the economy, we don't have minds on our own to be able to manage our own resources, manage our own internal affairs? Are we saying that Kwame Nkrumah was wrong when he said that the black man is capable of managing his own, affairs? All right, and we have seen Ghanaians going out there in foreign, countries, performing excellently. Why? What is happening to us? What is happening to us? I want to believe that, Roland, you see, I agree with the fact that, and this is not the first time probably we've made these suggestions. You see, the point still remains that IMF probably will not help us. We need to come with serious interventions, to be able to drive this economy forward. And one of the key things that has always forced us into going to look for IMF interventions is corruption. How much money do we lose as a country, every year, every time that the government is in power, and how do you call it? What kind of intervention have we put in place to ensure that we are able to reduce corruption, to the minimum and barest levels? I think that when we are able to do some of these things, it will help us. We need to actually invest in the agriculture value chain. That is very important. Very, very important, Roland. As we sit, we are gradually losing our agriculture sector because of issues related to galamsey, and all that. And if you don't do that, I understand that a greater part of inflation is controlled by the food basket. All right. And so if you don't do that, and then we begin to import foodstuffs into this country, it means that no matter what happens, I mean, this government will face a lot of challenges. We need to also invest very much into our industries. I mean, lawyer was talking about SMEs and all that. Okay. I think that even beyond SMEs, cottage industries, you know, beyond that, I mean, investing in young minds, entrepreneurship, youth entrepreneurship is something that we need to look at very well. I mean, those of us who teach entrepreneurship at the university, we recently, myself and my team, we recently did something on youth entrepreneurship. All right. And when you look at what the results and the expectations and all that, I mean, you marvel. All right. At UW, in my department, we have a program that students, you know, specializing in entrepreneurship, and I think that University of Ghana also does it. Dr. Kobi Mensah, Professor Kobi Mensah, you know, we sort of have an exhibition where students are given projects from the beginning of the year, beginning of the semester, and then they do exhibition for grade as part of the examination. And when we see the kind of creativity and innovations that these students are bringing out, I have no, you know, doubt that if government can invest in public universities and even private universities and say that, look, set up incubation hubs, set up entrepreneurship training, you know, centers, and come up with students who can actually think outside the box and to generate new or novel, you know, products and ideas for this country to benefit. I think that we go a long way, you know, to be able to deal with some of these challenges. So I feel that certain interventions that would drive industrialization, interventions that will leverage on the agricultural value chain, interventions that will ensure that Ghana become an export-driven economy is very, very important. Okay. Else, every year, almost every time, you know, IMF will be, look, our refuge. And if you are not careful, the day that IMF will tell you that we can't support you, you are in trouble. Besides, we have not even taken advantage of the help that IMF is giving us for us to build this economy on a solid foundation to be able to grow it ourselves. Why is it that every time IMF helps us, we come out of it and then we collapse the foundation again? We need to be careful with some of these attitudes and behaviors.
Dr. Sutubuayin ending the conversation this morning for us. And Dr. Samuel Efriye, thank you also for joining us. When do you think we need to look at the MPP internal primary now that we have UP also around now? We know we need to do some combo and see.
Yes, definitely we have.
And see how and see how we can talk about breaking the monopoly, that has been created by MPP NDC.
Roland, let me.
You know, yeah. Let's. You let me know that we will discuss.
Okay.
Roland,
I wish you well for the day,
Roland.
Dr. Tubuayin. I wish you well for the day as well. Wish you well for the day.
I promise you, we were going to build the house for all the people.
Roland.
So the house is ready.
Roland.
After 31st January, more than half of them will want to leave the familiar spirit possessed house. Our house is ready.
Roland, Ghana, we need to build institutions so that, you see, we build strong men. Yeah. It's always about individual we praise, and when those individuals leave the scene, then we get back to nothing. So let's ensure that our institutions work, whether with Mr. A or Mr. B. It flows like that. You understand? It will help us. Other than that, we will always come back to have this conversation.
A very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
All right. I have a couple of comments. This one coming from Oscar says that the 24-hour economy policy can work better if non-tariff barriers are removed on the West African Trade Corridor. And then also, we need to take a look at product standardization. I think it's something that the president talked about when he returned from China or during his visit in China. And then also, how can we be an export-driven economy when exports in the sub-region or to the sub-region, or when exporting to the sub-region, it's like going through hell, with goods in transit being charged in total violation to WTO rules. And a couple more also. Zilis Dwayne also says that I'm watching you keenly. His team Liverpool lost, so he's very sad this morning.
Who?
Zilis Dwayne.
Is it his team?
Yeah, Liverpool.
Liverpool and Kotoko.
Okay.
Very bad weekend.
Okay, and then this one is coming from Ablade. Ifya Kumazongo says that it's good to hear that Ghana will be able to exit the current IMF program whenever this government, whatever this government is doing right now, they should keep doing it. That the people of Ghana are in support of this. And then also, Mystic Wonder also sends a message, and as well as many other related subjects. But please, it is your birthday, and so Adiza, you'll celebrate your birthday this morning. Your husband Atukwefiu says that happy birthday to you. That is Abigail Adiza Atukwefiu. Mrs. Happy birthday to you. Wishing you all the best for the day. Okay, but if you want to look smart and fashionable, visit any Woodin boutique nationwide today. Now, Woodin is offering an amazing collection of authentic African fabrics, all ready to wear, all coming in beautiful designs and colors for men and women. Now, with Woodin, you get to be creative and versatile with your designs. You also get to be confident and show off how truly African you are in Woodin. So go to a Woodin boutique near you today, and then also get to choose from their variety of trendy products, all meant to complement your style. So follow them on social media and get the latest update as they have it. And Osei J. Boateng, happy birthday to you. You're in Kede, you're a regular watcher of the show. You just sent me a message. We're grateful that you join us. And then also Bennett Agbamebiase Yao of Sugakope Kumboni is coming from Delight Mojaka, who says happy birthday to you. I'm told you're a teacher there. Sir Bennett Agbamebiase of Sugakope Kumboni School, wishing you all the best for the happy birthday to you. And then Stephen as well, you also celebrate. We're taking a break, we'll be right back. Okay.
How may I help you today?
We'd like to open a bank account.
Sign here, sign here, sign here, and here. And now you draw direction to your house. I need your thumbprint. And I'll need your birth certificate too. No, I need the original.
A lot has changed since you bank like this. So have we. We've made it easier than ever to open an account online and bank on the go through our mobile app, online banking, and more. EcoBank, a better way to bank your way.
Sign here, and here.
EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
International Conference Center is shaking its foundation with a history-making event on Friday, 7th November from 6 p.m. Some of Ghana's best internationally acclaimed musicians are handling a musical concert to raise funds for the globally publicized Pan-African Heritage Museum coming up on Pomazi Hills near Winneba Junction. The unique museum is going to educate, heal, and inspire the world with its exhibition on the history, culture, achievement, and heritage of Africans and people of African descent. Come join the multiple Grammy nominee and global icon Rocky Dawuni, the father of High Life Rap, Jeduble Ambali, the rap doctor Ochiame Kwame, and many more on Friday, 7th November to make history for Ghana and Africa. Venue, Accra International Conference Center. Time, 6 p.m. prompt. Ticket, 300 cedis regular, 500 cedis VIP. For more information, call us on 0591 188 663 or visit our website on www.hamuseum.org. Media partners, TV3, 3FM, and 3news.com.
Little body. Cerelac wheat and maize, packed with the goodness of iron, vitamins and minerals found in fruits and vegetables. Just add milk to support their protein needs. New Cerelac wheat and maize. Enjoy your little one's big moment. This advert is FDA approved.
Kevin, be a good boy. Focus on your studies and don't follow girls with longer life than their future.
Your son is under VIP security and I'm the head of domestic affairs. Johnny Mami, don't be optical. Guys, we need to job us in my mother room. Ma, Johnny Mami, what? Milko Jono. Boy, me more feeling what?
Okay, senior, thank you.
Yeah, you think it's free? Major Gary and Katia, sugar. Share, Mammy no yas and what? Hey, that a beating to make a touch of us. Agent Gary. Wait now. So you Gary. For me. Oh, yeah. Chapamas.
You have the choice to pick and choose. So you choco Gary. Boys and girls, why I see? Gary in India.
What they going for here?
This advert is FDA approved.
My daughter has many dreams, and I want her to live to see them all. Cervical cancer can take them away, but it doesn't have to be the case. From 7th to 11th October 2025, the safe and free HPV vaccine will be available to all girls aged 9 to 14. Join parents nationwide to protect our girls from cervical cancer. One small step today.
When malaria strikes your home, it strikes everything. Sleep, peace, and even work. No more endless worry because of malaria. Fight malaria back with Vegetem. Vegetem is effective, safe, and fast-acting against malaria. With its alu-alu packaging, Vegetem tablets stays effective right to the very last tablets. Vegetem is also available in suspension for children. Vegetem, top on malaria, easy on you.
Celebrate Christmas the better way with Global Wings Travel and Tours. This year, we're flying you to Dubai and Abu Dhabi for the holiday of a lifetime. Join the GMB 2025 Queens and enjoy 5% off with our early bird offer. Early bird registration ends September 30. Travel with us from December 24th to 30th and explore Abu Dhabi and Dubai this Christmas season. This tour package includes 6 nights in a luxurious hotel, return flights, UAE visa, travel insurance, airport transfers, Abu Dhabi City Tour, visit to Yas Water Park, Dubai City Tour, visit to the aquarium and underwater zoo, marina cruise with dinner, desert ride with dinner under the stars, and so much more. With Global Wings Travel and Tours, Christmas isn't just a holiday, it's an experience. Call or WhatsApp 0550-188-181 or 0553-688-398 to book now. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Global Wings Travel GH. Global Wings Travel and Tours. Truly global, proudly Ghanaian.
are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late?
Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go be the luckiest. Coffee from Georgia be luckiest. From not the because she be luckiest. Yeah, you go be luckiest. No matter what you're luckiest. Everybody go be the luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Send your God the apple boom. If you're poor, what's that? So would the coming of the Son of Man be. Is that his car?
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompt and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Favorite platform, and your favorite platform is right here on TV3. We'll be telling you more, perhaps our lucky winner. So the more you play, the higher your chances of winning. You want to get 1,000 Ghana cedis for your pocket. It's the beginning of the week, so don't miss this opportunity. Star 439 hash, you follow the prompt and choose your favorite platform right here on TV3, which is number 2. So keep playing, and very soon we'll get to know who will be going home with 1,000 Ghana cedis. Remember, we're giving 10,000 cedis to 10 individuals. But now it's time for sports. Billy Shen is here. Stay with us. And good morning to you, the Billy Shen.
Hi, Beatrice. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
How was your weekend?
Nice. You're looking all shiny.
Thank you.
Yeah, very shiny.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes, and Ose Morocco, right?
Yeah.
Against Argentina.
Yeah, I mean, Morocco, they've done well. They managed to win the Under-20 World Cup, defeating Argentina by 2 goals to 0. Argentina were favorites, 6-time winners and all of that.
Yeah.
But Morocco were able to do justice to them, and that's good because they've become the second African team to win the Under-20 World Cup. The first was, of course, us back in 2009, and now they've done it as well. So kudos to them, very good one for them. And it's just an indication of the sort of investments that they've done over the years.
Indeed.
And it's bearing fruit, not just on the Under-20 level. We saw the Under-23 actually winning bronze at the Olympics. We've seen the senior team go to the semi-finals of the World Cup. We've seen the women's team win silver in the women's AFCON back-to-back. And so we are seeing a lot of developments when it comes to Moroccan football.
I mean, it goes to confirm the conversations that we've been having even right here in Ghana about the need for us to have the long-term, medium to long-term kind of investment if we really want to see the kind of future in sports that we wish for as Ghanaians.
Yeah, it's very important to have that. You won't get the success immediately, but when you keep doing it for a particular period of time, you get to see a lot of it, bear fruits. I mean, it sort of feels like now with Ghana, it's sort of stagnated a bit, and hopefully we have that medium to long-term plan to invest more in sports.